Welcome back to another college football RPO podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Jerome Jones, your humble host, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend. It's already on his shirt, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing good. Man, we got a good slate of games. We've been through some of the rough games, but we had some good games. We had some good games, and we're going to talk about it. We went through some of the rough games, but we're here now. I'm excited to see how this week goes because we got some really good games as well. I'm also want to talk a little bit of NFL football because there's two panelists right now, and their favorite teams are undefeated right now. So I just want to get a quick talk about your team right now, Ray. Miami Dolphins looking pretty good. How you feeling about them?
I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'll feel a little better after the next 2 weeks because it'll be a little bit better of a barometer of how good I think they can be. I'm excited what I like is how I think, and I'm not calling Miami a good team yet. It's all a process. I got that. But I think good teams usually find different ways to win. Last week, you see Miami run the ball, play pretty stout defense. Couple of really horrible calls by the officials, but no excuses. Shit happens. And then the first week, it was an aerial show, 466 yards, a couple different touchdowns. Everybody, Tyreek Hill, 215 yards receiving. I mean, again, I think good teams find different ways to win football, and that's what they've done the first 2 weeks. They kind of played two different games and won both of them.
You say that one more time because I think that's going to be the theme of today's podcast. Say that one more time.
What's that?
Good teams what?
Good teams find different ways to win games. If you notice, and I hate to use this because I think going back to the Chiefs always find different ways to win games. Even the Eagles in 2017, they found different ways to win games. Last year, they found 1 week it would be the defense for the Eagles, and next week it would be the offense, or vice versa.
Right.
I think, again, good teams find different ways to win games, and that is how I determine if they're good teams or not.
Yeah, I mean, talking about our favorite team, my Eagles, 2-0, and it wasn't easy wins, but like you said, good teams figure out ways to win, and we figure out ways to win. So I'm not overly panicking about it. It's the beginning of the season. If they were playing the way they were now later in the season, I'll be a little worried, but it's early. We don't play preseason, so these two games were pretty much our preseason games. I'm looking forward to see how our team kind of adjusts.
I don't want to get into injuries. Yeah, I mean that's par for the course, man. You always hear you lose a couple guys early in the season, and hopefully it just doesn't steamroll and turn into multiple injuries. Like Miami had a lot of injuries last year, so I just think that like I said, the good teams will find different ways to win. I think that Miami's defense is a little bit more of a question mark than their offense right now. Even though they played pretty well last week. And honestly, people that think that New England's not a good team, they're a pretty good team, man. I really think that the Patriots are a better team than people think. I'm not a huge Mac Jones fan, but I think what you saw last week was Bill Belichick come out with a different scheme to slow down Miami's passing attack. And because Miami's offensive line has played a little better and their running backs are still fairly talented, even though they're missing Jeff Wilson, they found a way to run the ball against a defense that was designed to stop Miami from throwing the ball the way they had the week before. So, again, another way to win a game is always important.
100%. Same way with my team. So I'm glad to be talking about this, and we're going to be talking about some teams that found ways to win. Some scary, some not, but we'll definitely talk about it. So let's get right into our week 3 recap. We're going to be talking about all the college, well, not all of them, but some of the closer games, some of the more exciting games that happened, some of the more surprising games. Ray, and we're going to talk about the Florida State versus Boston College. Now, Florida State, although we talked about, finding ways to win, they are currently 3-0 right now, number 3 in the country, but they almost lost to Florida State. Boston College, 31-29. So a 3-point win. What's your take on this game, Ray? They're supposed to be favored by 25.5.
Boston, that Florida State's defense did not play very well in this game. They gave up way too many yards to, Boston College quarterback. I just don't understand. I'm used to Florida State being, primo defense.
Mm-hmm.
They just did not play good defense this week, and I don't know exactly why. I mean, I only got to watch highlights of a lot of these games this week because I was away, and I didn't get to watch a lot of college football this weekend. So I kind of looked at some of the game film, and I looked at some highlights of the games. And again, where Florida State is, they're a ranked team, and they're playing decent football. But it's a conference game. Again, you found a way to win the game, and really, in the end, that's all that matters. But they were highly favored over a team they're way more athletic than, which was the surprising part about it. So,
Yeah, Boston College actually shut out FSU in the fourth quarter and started coming back. They had 3 punts. They had a fumble at the end of the game. Still was able to outlast them at the end of the game. But, to have those turnovers, converting on third downs was really hurting them at the end of the game. It was like they almost forgot how to win because it was beating them first. At halftime, it was 17-10. So it was pretty close then. And then they got up, another 14 points in the third quarter. But by the fourth quarter, they was allowing Boston College to come back. Like I said, the turnovers was an issue. Only 128 yards on the ground. I think that didn't help them. Seal the game away, not being able to run the ball super effectively. You think that was pretty much it too? Maybe, a little bit of offense that couldn't move the ball, on the ground.
Yeah, I think they Travis Jordan didn't have a great day throwing the ball. And again, because of their inability to establish a run game. I mean, from what I saw from Boston College is you saw them play a lot of even and odds fronts, kind of confusing Florida State a little bit. I think maybe that they were a little confused by what Boston College was doing on defense. Again, not a good look, but they did win the game. I respect the Boston College program. You know that. So I'm not going to sit here and kill them because I think that Boston College came out with a really good game plan to slow down their offense. And they got enough done on offense to keep themselves in the game. So their quarterback is an okay player. He's nothing. Castellanos is not great, but he had a really good game against them. So hopefully, maybe he can build on this. Maybe he becomes better than we think he will be right now.
Yeah, solid guy. I don't think he's a world beater. Talking about Castellino.
Yes, Castellanos.
Yeah. Thomas Castellanos. So yeah, we'll see how he does for the rest of the year. But they didn't play horrible. They had that interception, but I say that he did enough. And like you said, Ray, Florida State's defense did not help at all. They just fell apart. They gave up too much at the end for sure, and nearly cost the game. So.
Yeah, I didn't like how Florida State's defense played. They let Boston College dictate to them what they were going to do, and I'm just not used to seeing that. I mean, Castellanos, not only did he threw the ball for 305 yards and a touchdown, but he also ran for 95 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So the kid's fairly athletic, and he had a really nice game. And again, I expected Boston College to play fairly physical, and they did on defense. But Florida State is much more athletic than them. So that's why that's probably in the end, probably Boston College did a little better game planning for the game, but Florida State's athleticism in the end won out. So
100%. I agree. Let's get to our next game, and that will be Mizzou versus K-State. Now, Ray, we had our game picks last week, and both of us picked K-State winning this game. They lost by 3 points to Mizzou. Mizzou is actually 3-0 right now, Ray. Are you surprised about that?
I am a little bit. I mean, not that I don't think they're a decent program. They are. but they've been playing good football lately. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised and happy though, because I like Missouri football. I think that it's important for these Big Ten teams to be good. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
it can't be always just Michigan and Penn State and Ohio State. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
No,
just
I agree.
nice. God.
No, I'll say this, right? They got to do a little bit better on the running game, though. I mean, 74 yards total, that's not going to be sustainable.
Oh, you mean people run the ball still? Yeah,
Run
I agree. I see a team run for like barely 70 yards. I'm like, ugh, that's not
Yeah.
really balancing your offense. But again, man, they made it win for them. They won the game. So, it was a good game. Brady Cook had a really good game. Looked really good in this game. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about him except
I
for
don't
what
either.
you know what I mean, from watching him play this game. I thought he played really well, but we'll see. I mean, again, something for him to build on.
Definitely.
He surprised me. He did. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if you remember when we did that during the preseason, he was not even looking as the definite starter, but now he looks like he's going to take that step and be the starter now.
Yeah, I agree. And shout out, look, can we get a little kicker love right now? Because, the kicker, Mavis kicked a 61-yarder, which is a SEC record, man. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Again, you know how I feel about kickers, but yeah, man, he helped win the game. That's a good thing for him.
Yeah, game winner. I mean, that's exciting for the kid. So, I try to get some kickers some love sometimes, So, congratulations.
I mean, honestly, I wish I would have watched the game instead of the highlights. The highlights were really fun to watch.
Yeah,
This would have been a good game, fun game to watch.
I agree.
Kind of back and forth, and then close score. Excuse me.
Yes, I'll take you off. So I expected this game not to be the greatest game. While Ray goes on, I didn't expect this game not to be the greatest game. Like I say, shout out to the kickers, and I think that obviously it was team, and they were actually favored by 3.5. So it wasn't like they was favored. It was actually one of the closer games, and me and Ray kind of tried to judge the games that are going to be close. I think they're better matchups. This one lived up to the hype. Usually when we pick some games that we think gonna be close or very close in standings or teams that are very close in competition. Sometimes it don't go this way. Sometimes they're not very good games. But this one was a good game. Will Howard, he played actually really well. He did have a pick, but he was 25 for 39 yards. So he was passing very efficiently, but that last drive, they couldn't get it done. Then Mizzou went down the field. They had to get that the kick in there, or they're gonna go to overtime. 61-yard kick, and very, very impressive. If you guys know, in NFL, a 61-yard kick is not that bad, but 61-yard kick in college, man, that's hype. It's not a lot of kickers that can do that in college football. So Ray, you look like you want to say something?
Yeah, let me just start by apologizing, Jerome, to everyone who was listening, because I am temporarily by myself at work, so I am on call like 24/7. So even no matter what needs to happen, I was kind of I was annoyed by it. I'm sure other people work too. So
No, I got you. Duty calls, man. We're not worried about it. All right, let's get to our next game real quick. We got Louisville versus Indiana. Louisville coming away with the win, 21-14. It was a very close game. They are undefeated right now, but how do you feel about the Cardinals right now, right?
I like their team. I think they are a little more explosive than Indiana usually. But I mean, I didn't get to watch a lot of this game, to be honest with you. It's kind of annoying. I'm actually looking for the
well, while you're looking for it, I just kind of want to point out stuff because like you said, I'm very intrigued with this Louisville team. Obviously, they got the first year coaches, Jeff Brom. Obviously, you know him from playing in backup quarterback for the Packers, I believe it was. So he's very intriguing. And then Jack Plummer, their quarterback, who I believe is Jake Plummer.
I think he is. I actually think he is. I think that again, Louisville is one of them teams that like usually play a somewhat a little bit of a pro style offense, but with a spread formation concept.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to watch. Usually, they like athletic quarterbacks, which is always a good thing for them. I just think that Plummer is more of a prototype passer, at least that's what he would like to be. But he's also somewhat athletic, so
I mean, 8 rushes for 42 yards.
Right.
With a long of 20, he's pretty athletic. He's solid. He's solid back there.
But again, like his dad was a fair athlete, so
Correct. So this game, I wasn't expecting it to be this close, honestly. It was favored by going into it. But another team that didn't run much, which is Indiana, and obviously they had to get caught up a little bit because in the first half, Louisville was up 21-0, and then Indiana had to come back, but like it was a very stallish game. Like Indiana's coming back, but after that, it was just like back and forth defense, which defense, but at the same time, it's like nothing's going on in the first half on one side, and then nothing's going on in the second half on the opposite side. So it's interesting. It's when you have these teams like this, and they have to sustain, what they're doing, or game planning happens. You have to learn to adjust. So I just think that coaching wise, like I said, Jeff Brom, first year as the coach there. It'd be some little bit of growing pains right there. A little bit of growing pains. So.
Yeah, and I like Brom. I think he's going to be a good coach for them. I think he's done it. He's going to do a pretty good job, I believe. So,
Yeah, 100%. So I agree. All right, let's get to our next game, and that will be Miami of Ohio versus Cincinnati. So Cincinnati came into this game favored 14.5 points. This game went into overtime, and Miami of Ohio beats Cincinnati. Now, this is very disappointing for me because I picked Cincinnati 2 weeks ago, and they played really well. I mean, that was one of the games we had opposite teams winning that week. And Cincinnati looked pretty well, and then they played Miami of Ohio. Not trying to get anything away or discredit anything on Miami, Ohio, though, but it is Miami of Ohio. So you don't expect them to just win. And it was an overtime win, but they beat them. So, Ray, what's your overall thoughts on this game?
I think Gabbert had a decent game. Only threw for 237 yards, but 3 touchdowns. Did throw a pick. I think he did a good job of, keeping his team in the game. I just think that Cincinnati of Ohio has a Cincinnati has a tendency to play down to the level of competition at time, and they're still going through growing pains from like losing a lot of guys the last couple of years, I believe.
Yeah, and Emory Jones, man, we knew Emory Jones. He formerly played at Florida, and me and you already kind of talked about it before. He's more of an athlete than anything. 18 for 34 yards. He did have 265 yards, but 2 picks. One of them being on a 4th down. Can't let that happen. He did run for 101 yards, so they use him in the running game a lot. But it's just that as a passer, man, you just can't get it right now. And enough to win a game that's tight like this,
Mm-hmm. It's just Tough game for him. Like you say, he is very athletic, and he's a nice athlete, and he has a fairly strong arm. He just doesn't always have throw consistency, and his footwork is really sloppy. So
Yeah, might be the bane of the Cincinnati team. With his inconsistencies, being up and down. And by the way, Gabbert, older brother is Blaine Gabbert. If you guys were wondering, that is the younger brother of Blaine Gabbert that played in the NFL for the Jaguars.
And actually, Gabbert also ran for 75 yards, average over 8 yards a carry. So, yeah. I mean, they played well, and he played well, and Cincinnati is. We talked about this, I think, earlier this year, Jerome, that they were going to be one of them teams that, like, they're going to need a couple years to rebuild that program and get it to where they were like 2 years ago. They are. Correct. They lost a lot of guys, and they're going to be one of them teams where. And they've lost their coach this year. So we'll see how things turn out for them. But it has not been a great start to this year.
Yeah. I actually forgot Luke Fickell left.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and they're pretty big shoes to fill. But 100%. I think that they shouldn't lose to a team like Miami of Ohio, though. They really shouldn't.
Yeah.
I think there's probably more talent on Cincinnati. Maybe it's more of a matchup type of thing with the team. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely. All right, let's get to our last few games here. Some of the more exciting games of the weekend. Let's talk about this Alabama game. Let's talk about Alabama. Let's do it. I don't have it on here. That's why I'm kind of scrambling. But Alabama versus USC. I'm sorry, South Florida, USF. I'm so bad with the acronym. But So Alabama, man. Came out 3-3 in the first half. At halftime, it's 3-3. They did pick it up, made their adjustments, and looked a little bit better at the end of the game. But my question is, I believe Monroe was injured. That's why he didn't play.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Alabama is. I'm never going to say that they're going to be a bad team because they're not.
Yeah.
But they're not going to win anything this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not with Tyler Buchner and Ty Simpson as quarterback. They're just not going to. They're not even. I mean, the crazy thing is I like Tyler Buchner as an athlete. He's an athletic kid. But, I mean, his play, that's one of the few games I actually got to watch when I was away because it was on one of the TV stations I was watching where we were eating. And I was like, man, Tyler Buchner, I don't know what it is? They're teaching him a different offense than what he operated at Notre Dame. Yeah. I thought because him and Tommy Rees had been together for a year or two, that he would step in and he would kind of know Tommy Rees's offense. But if you watched into the game, you heard them talk about how, no, Tommy Rees is learning the Alabama offense. Well, what did you hire him for then?
Yeah.
So you hire a Notre Dame offensive coordinator, which is fine. Tommy Rees is a smart guy, and I think he's done a decent job. I'm not saying he's great enough, but he's done a decent job. You hired a guy who ran a certain spread pro-style offense, kind of like what Louisville does, but at a higher level because you should have better athletes. Okay? And now you're telling him to learn a different offense, and then this quarterback that he brought with him who knew his offense doesn't know the offense. That makes sense.
No, I agree, Ray. It's just it don't make sense to do something like that. And I want to ask you this question too, Ray. Is Alabama in trouble? I mean,
in trouble as far as
that's not the biggest team. Yes, they had injuries. Kool-Aid wasn't playing. Kool-Aid McKinstry wasn't really playing. Got injured in the first quarter. Jalen Monroe, their starting quarterback, wasn't there. The quarterback play wasn't great. So you can't be like, well, there's a lot of injuries. This is Alabama we're talking about, who's usually have a lot of depth. And even before this game, the 2 games before, they just haven't looked that hot. what's your take on this team right now, right?
That they're a struggling offense trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
They really are. Are they a running team? Not really. Are they a passing team? Not when you have no experience at quarterback.
Yeah.
Now you're starting to see how many flaws the quarterback that Bryce Young has been really good. You're starting to see what he was working with, and it really wasn't a lot. The receivers are good. They're not as good as they've been in recent years.
Correct.
But you're acting like honestly, if I were Alabama, I would completely change my offense. I would go back to what I will let Tommy Rees call what the plays that he wants to call, and I would run the ball.
Yeah.
You're still Alabama. And if you can't run the ball, then
and it's not like they didn't run that well. I mean, they did get 200 yards on the ground. Williams had 129 yards on 17 carries. So he was playing really well. It's just that they just couldn't get it together on defense. They was giving up points. I mean, not giving up points, but like they wasn't doing enough to keep, South Florida from staying in the game. Obviously, South Florida is South Florida. And again, no offense to the school program, but they haven't been that good of a team in the last recent years. I mean, Alabama was favored by 34.5 in the game. It wasn't even close to that line. Not even close. Whoever bet on that one lost some money, man, because that line was not even close.
I honestly, Jerome, that I look at their roster and I don't see. Don't get me wrong, I see some guys that are decent players, but I don't see any big time wide receiver. At least nobody's proven.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like what is your identity?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at their wide receivers, they have Burton and Bond and Dupree. They're all guys that are talented, but they haven't proven anything yet. But you ran the ball for 200 yards, so you kept the ball and you did a good job there. But again, you're playing USF. What are you going to do when you play against good teams, like really good teams? You're literally going to have to win games 10-3, 9-7. I mean, you're not going to do that in the SEC. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to work out, man.
For one, they're probably not going. Honestly, I hate saying this because I know Nick Saban is a great coach, and maybe he does find improvement in the run game and find something in Ty Simpson or Tyler Buckner that we haven't seen yet. Maybe he finds it because he is a good coach. But right now, I don't see them as a playoff team. I don't.
Do they look the number 10th team in the country right now?
No, not at all.
I agree. That's where they're at right now, but I agree. I just don't see it. So,
I don't know how they can go into a game like that against USF. And I'm not trying to minimize that USF is usually a decent team.
They're 13 right now. I'm sorry.
What's that?
They're 13 currently. I'm sorry. There was 10 last week.
Okay. Alabama's 13. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Notre Dame?
And they got a pretty good matchup this weekend. So we're going to talk about that. I'm sorry?
Where's Notre Dame?
Notre Dame?
I'm
guessing they would be top 10.
They were 9th, I believe, last week.
Notre Dame. Looking for them now. I don't see them on here. Where are they? You got big. There you go. They're still 9.
Where's Michigan ranked?
2.
Okay.
Still number 2, sir. Still number 2.
And I guess Georgia's number 1.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense. That's fine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, this is starting this week and beyond. This is when I really start paying attention to, the rankings a little bit more because, in the beginning, the rankings don't move too much unless you had either you had a good game already or, you lost to somebody that you wasn't supposed to. So the rankings don't matter too much to me and starting to afford to.
You know what bothers me about it? It seems like and this is true with Michigan a little bit too, and Notre Dame, and like an even Ohio State, but not the SEC teams. If we don't dominate teams by the line, we will fall in the standings, and the SEC teams will be treated the same way.
I agree.
They just don't seem to fall. I mean, maybe they think the level of competition is that much better down there that they shouldn't fall as far if they lose to each other. And I get that, and I don't 100% agree with it, but I get it. But I do think that honestly, Jerome, and people are going to, and we've always had this debate. SEC is the best conference. It is the best conference, and it still is, but it's not as dominant anywhere near as it was even 2 or 3 years ago.
No, it's
not. Georgia, and they're the number one team in the country, rightfully so. But there's a big drop off between them and like Alabama right now.
Correct. And I think that some of these other teams are starting to creep into that little spot too, you know. So I agree with you, right? I agree. Obviously, the two Big Ten teams.
I think again, like I said before, like I like JJ McCarthy. I think he's a good player. We'll see. I think he's a little unproven still, but we'll see. Correct. When was the last time Notre Dame and Michigan has had even close to the same quality quarterbacks as Alabama, Ohio State? I mean, that's not usually the norm, but it's the norm right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama, if Alabama had good quarterback play, they'd still be a really good team. That's why I worry about it, because like last year, if they didn't Alabama did not run the ball great last year, but Bryce Young was so good, he kind of hid the fact that they weren't great at running the ball last year.
Correct.
Ohio State the same way. The quarterback was so talented that it didn't matter. They were going to, well, for one, he was going to make plays anyway, as we see. And I know it's very early on. How are we liking the C.J. Stroud compared to Bryce Young right now?
C.J. Stroud playing really well, man. He's leading a couple of quarterbacks already.
Remember, I said this again. He's going to be the best quarterback in this draft. He's going to be a star. Okay.
Yeah, and not to show my bias in this, but we did study, Nico Collins. We got to interview him, player. I said if Nico Collins had a good quarterback, you'd be good. And looking pretty decent right now, Yeah. Even when he was in Michigan, I don't think he had a good quarterback, So
here's what you want if you're a Houston fan. And I don't want to get into too much NFL stuff. You want your team to be just good enough to not win games. Get that high draft pick. Get impact players for your lines, your defensive and offensive line. Give this kid a couple more weapons behind him, and Houston's going to be a good team 3 years from now.
I agree.
They're Jacksonville 3 years ago without that idiot coach.
I like that. I like the comparison. I like it.
They are. They're Jacksonville 3 years ago, like right before Trevor Lawrence was drafted.
Yeah.
Like they're
they built it the right way. Yeah.
You see some talent, and then you see the talented quarterback. The difference that with Trevor Lawrence is he had that idiot, what's his name? Urban Meyer, thinking he's an NFL coach, and everybody was confused down there. But ever since, and I hate to say this, man, I like Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson is a good football coach. And if I were Trevor Lawrence, I'd be like, thank God I got a real guy here.
No, I agree. And he's definitely a QB whisperer. He's definitely one of those QB coaches, and you got a good talent in there, and what he does, he can do some good stuff for you. So I agree.
The good thing for him is he don't have the shadow of Andy Reid like he did when he came to Philadelphia.
True.
He can just
be free doing what he needs to do.
Correct. He could just be the coach that used to coach with Andy Reid, and now he's on his own. And it's not like when he was in Philadelphia, because everybody was going to be, oh, he's just Reid's boy. He's just Reid's boy. And you know what? Honestly, you found out that Doug Peterson is actually a pretty good football coach.
Definitely.
Not surprising, though, because the guys that usually are the marginal football players, a la Andy Reid, do usually tend to be the best coaches.
I agree. So, all right. Well, speaking of good coaches, we had some good coaches with this game right here. South Carolina versus UGA. So, UGA won, obviously, 3-0 right now. But another game, another slow start. South Carolina was up 14-3 at halftime, and obviously UGA came out like they usually do. Came out. Spencer Rattler was looking incredible in the first half, and then Spencer Rattlering. 2 interceptions. It was a soggy little day. It was a little, damp out there and wet. What's your overall thought on this game, Ray?
It was I of course I didn't get to watch this game because I was at the Notre Dame game, and I was like there was a guy in front of me that kept giving me like updates on the game, and like you said, I expect South Carolina to come out and try to play and do a good job, but again, Georgia's just much better than them, basically. I mean, it doesn't make any. I mean, I like South Carolina. I like their program. They're just not on the same level as Georgia. I mean, Georgia got Carson Beck at quarterback now. He had a solid game, but again, they're not asking him to do a whole lot on offense. They're just asking him to distribute the ball, run the ball, and let our defense keep it and win the games for us. And that's what they do now. And again, because of the weak quarterback play from some teams, maybe Georgia has enough to get by with this kid because again, he looks like a decent player. Just has to get his feet underneath him, and see what happens.
No, I agree. Yeah, he, decent player. I don't think he's. It's crazy because I still think he's more talented than Stidham. I really do, but it's also like he's not that guy that's going to put the team on his back like a CJ Stroud or like a Bright last year. So I think they need to rely on, their talent, but, they lost a lot of time. They had, their number one receiver was injured in the beginning of the year, and I think he played this game. No play. McConkey, he still didn't really play this game.
No,
So they still got him out. Say it again?
No, he didn't play.
Yeah, McConkey was still out. So their number one receiver is out. But usually, Georgia have a couple of guys out there that can play receiver, and they really don't. So they have to rely a lot on Brock Bowers, who's a tight end. And Brock Bowers is a really good blocking tight end. So, they try to have him block as well. So, and he's only one guy. They got a whole bunch of transfer receivers who's, playing very fairly, but, have that guy like they usually have. And, so I think it's like a little figuring out what they do, kind of like Alabama, trying to figure out what they're trying to do. You see some kinks in the armor right now. Say that.
I mean, I like Bowers, of course. I think he's a difference maker at tight end. I actually like Dominic Lovett, who's transferred there from Missouri, who I think has some talent. But again, it is going to be more of a balanced offense with Georgia. And in the end, they're athletic, man. Their defense is going to keep them in every game. And Stetson Bennett was no star. He was just one of them guys that the team just seemed to believe in. And who knows? Right. Maybe this kid could be the same thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
And like you said before, Spencer Rattler does what Spencer Rattler does. He looked great in the first half and looked like crap in the second half. So
definitely. I know Georgia fans are going to be waiting for Dylan Raiola to get there next year because he's probably going to start as a rookie.
I would not be surprised if that were the case. Raiola is a special talent, at least in the high school level. We'll see.
Yeah.
But again, if I were a quarterback, why wouldn't you want to go to Georgia right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you almost have the luxury of being on the best team in the country without having all the pressure on you.
Definitely.
That's the thing. That's what's going to do win Alabama and Nick Saban if they don't get up to where they've been the next couple of years. Because then you're going to hear people start to whisper about has Nick Saban lost it or any of that.
Yeah.
They'll never make a move. It's like Bill Belichick in New England.
Oh yeah.
Bill Belichick will never get fired in New England. He may decide to leave or step down, but Nick Saban's never getting fired from Alabama. He may decide to just leave or, I'll go somewhere else and we'll make it like like I didn't want to coach for a while. I'll sit out a year and I'll get rejuvenated, like one of these other guys. But they're never going to fire Nick Saban. It'll be like a mutual type of thing, or maybe he'll just retire.
Yeah.
I think Belichick, the difference is I don't know if Belichick, I think if I were Bill Belichick, I would beat Don Shula's record, try to win one more championship, and then I'd get out. If I don't win a championship in the next 3 years, I would retire.
I agree.
He's about, I think he's like maybe 12 games, 13.
He's still not older than Pete Carroll.
No, but the difference is that Pete Carroll still has something to prove if he ever wants that statue in Canton. Bill Belichick has nothing to prove.
Yeah, that's true.
He's won 6 Super Bowls. He's been a part of 9 championships in the NFL. I mean, that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, let's move on real quick because we're 40 minutes in. We still need your game picks. So let's get into the last 2 games, probably some of the best games this weekend. Tennessee versus Florida. Florida beat Tennessee 16-29. Well, 29-16. Sorry, I read that wrong. It's backwards. But Florida looking pretty solid, man. They're 2-1 right now. Have starting the season pretty well. They were 5-point underdogs. Tennessee defense did not show up that well, especially in the beginning of the game. They started tightening up a little bit, but Tennessee's offense couldn't finish it out. First and foremost, Ray, what's your thoughts on this game?
Joe Milton really did not play great in this game. It was not a great game for him. It's a funny story. I walking up to the game last week at the Notre Dame game, and you always see everyone's wearing Notre Dame gear. There's some people wearing Central Michigan, which is fine. There's this one guy wearing bright orange everything, Tennessee. And I'm like, yeah, man, dude. So I was just kidding with guys sitting 3 rows ahead of me. I'm like, dude, did somebody drop you off at the wrong game? He's like, oh no, man. I just love the Tennessee Volunteers and I'm here with my friends. I'm like, that's good, man. That's cool. Yeah. So it was no big deal. It just was surprising. Yeah, and it was Peyton Manning Tennessee jersey. So I mean,
that's hilarious, right?
It's just like, okay, dude, what are we doing here? I mean,
definitely.
Have you ever been to Michigan's campus?
Say again?
Have you ever been to Michigan's campus?
No, me and Juan were just talking about it because he's in Detroit right now, and he's actually going to the Michigan-Ohio State game this year, and kind of jealous. So I definitely gotta make a plan to go up there, especially we got somebody that's up there now, so I'm definitely gotta make a plan to go up there for sure. Especially if JJ come back, I'm definitely trying to have to go up there for sure.
It's funny. Me and Ryan were talking the other day about going to a whiteout game at Penn State because I would like to experience that. But I don't know how I would go about getting tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure they sell out way ahead of time.
Yeah,
but I would like to do it. You know what I mean? Just one time. My dad was a big Penn State fan. I mean, and I used to, in the area I live in, I kind of rooted for Penn State when I was a kid too. I mean, Notre Dame's always been my favorite team, but I rooted for Penn State because my dad was a Penn State fan, and believe it or not, my wife Lois is more of a Penn State fan than a Notre Dame fan. But I forgive her for it every time I give her a kiss,
Funny. But no, so this game was a good one. Graham Marks had a solid game. Didn't pass for a lot of yards, but he had a solid game. Like you said, Joe Milton struggled at the I feel like he struggled more in the second half than the beginning of the game. He was looking a lot more efficient in the beginning of the game.
I think that he does have some hot and cold flashes about him for sure.
Yeah.
And
that was my biggest thing about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my biggest thing about him. Travis Etienne's little brother, Trevor, played very well. Ran for a career high of 172 yards and a touchdown. One of them ripping off a 62-yard run. This kid's looking like his brother, man. He's looking real good for that, man. I think
He's very good, man. And like you said, their ability to run the ball just enough. And like you said, Mertz didn't do anything great. He's very efficient, though. 19 and 24, 166, quarterback rating of 102. So he did very well without getting a lot of yards.
100%.
So again, very efficient. And you know what? When you have a lead and you're able to run the ball, I mean, again, it's just a good formula for winning. Basically, it's always been, and it always will be. And again, Florida's defense played really well in this game.
I agree. They did. Yeah. So good game. All right, let's get to our last game, the game that everybody's talking about this week, and for good reason. Colorado versus Colorado State. This game was going to be talked about even before the game started. Just the way that, all the talks between the coaches and this and that was going on. I will say this. If you like running games, this game was not for you. If you like the running game, this game is not for you. This is all passing. Obviously, Colorado 3-0, winning that game in double overtime. It's a rivalry game. Colorado was actually favored by 23, but the one possession win for them. What you think about this game, Ray?
I think that what you've seen is, yes, Deion is Deion, and he's very confident, and his teams play with confidence, and that's a very good thing. But when you talk a lot, it can also force the other team to put up their best effort every week against you. So now where you were the underdog and people are liking how you're talking, now the coaches on the other side maybe don't like all the talking that is getting done about you, and maybe that puts their best forward. Because, again, they were big-time favorite in this game.
Yeah.
They weren't the underdog. And some guys play better as the underdog, as you know. Right. Being an Eagles fan from 2017, the big mantra was everybody, a hungry dog eats, right?
Going faster, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think you saw where, yes, Colorado should have won this game convincingly, but because of Deion coaching with the vibrato and the confidence that he does, he brought out the best in Colorado State.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a rivalry too. Like with these kind of games, they're rivalries. They kind of even though the coaches they have never played against each other before, but it's a rivalry game. I will say this: State was up 21-14 at the halftime, but they did, and this part I hate, and I don't like the fact that this hit on Travis Hunter was intentional. It was 100% intentional. I don't know if the kid meant to injure him, but he definitely illegally hit him for sure. And took Travis Hunter out the game, kind of affected him in a sense, I believe, in the first half. And then it was more of like a let's play for Travis at the end, especially on the defensive side. Definitely hurt them more than the offensive side. Hope that Travis Hunter it will be okay. Obviously, they got some tough games coming up, and we'll talk about that. But I think that when you do have these type of games, when you're like you're talking about, right, where both teams are getting hype and there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of pre-game antics and stuff like that. There's going to be hits like there was in that game. And again, like I said, I hope Travis is okay. I think he's in concussion protocol right now. That game, that hit was a dirty hit. I'm just going to say it like it was. It was a dirty hit. And, that shouldn't be in the game. But you got to expect stuff like that when you kind of, when you're a big-time name and you're already a talker and, all of the antics before the game, and then it's going to be bad blood. It's just going to be bad blood. But so that did affect them, but, they did pull away the win. Like I said, it did affect them more on defense than offense because Shedeur Sanders, man, looking like a Heisman candidate at this point.
He is, and he pretty much carries their offense at this point.
Yeah.
He does a lot of little different things, and he's a good passer. He's very athletic. And I'm sorry that Hunter got hurt. I mean, again, the kid's been a great player. I didn't see the hit though, Jerome. I didn't see it. Okay,
it's bad.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, again, like you said, there's no place for it.
Yeah,
I mean, especially in college. I mean, I know in the here, I hate to say this, man. Everybody's getting paid now, though, man. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's like it does. You know how you when I was a kid, you know how you got your name for you? You took out the best players in the game.
Yeah.
That was how you almost earned a reputation. And I'm not even saying they were trying to hurt each other, but they were trying to get them out of that game. There's no question about that. Well, now you cause a little bit of, well, how do I get my name in the paper? I take out Travis Hunter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's
I want to correct myself. Travis Hunter was actually injured in the third quarter. Sorry, I said the first quarter.
I didn't. Again, I knew he was hurt. I've heard he's going to miss like maybe 2 games already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if that means more than that, maybe, or after 1 week they got to reevaluate him. I heard 2 games, so I don't know. I didn't see the hit. I just know that I've heard that he may miss the next 2 games. Which again, here's another guy. I mean, if he'd have continued on the trajectory he was on, where he was going to catch 80 balls and be a shutdown corner, you're talking about a Heisman Trophy winner. You're talking about at least one of the top 2 or 3 players in college football, 5 players in college football. And now he's not going to play because someone felt like taking a cheap hit at him. That's what I don't like about it. I don't want to be denied the opportunity to watch great players play.
No, 100%.
I mean, all kidding aside, we all have played football. We all have hit guys as hard as we can because that's part of the game. But not to intentionally hurt guys.
Correct.
You know what? Honestly, to make them the next time they go to field that ball, they remember when they see my number, I better watch that guy because they saw my number. That's really what football is about. Creating space for yourself and letting guys around you get more space because you created your space. That's basically what football is about, no matter where you're at in it. If I'm an offensive lineman, I'm trying to make this guy better than me, and the guy next to me is a better player too because I'm taking my space. Okay, that's football. If I'm a receiver, I want my space. No matter if it's running a 9 route or a post or a dig route or a cross middle pass, I need my space so I can make the guys around me better also. But now I'm denied watching a great player play, and that's what bothers me about guys taking shots at guys like that.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's part of the game, but it shouldn't be to the extent that it was. So, I hope he plays. I hope he gets better.
Right. But, so you're hitting. Was he on offense or defense when it happened, Jerome? I don't even know that.
He's on offense. He was on offense.
Well, that's what I mean. That's the other thing about playing a guy a lot of snaps like that, man. You're almost making him a little more susceptible to injury also. Okay. Oh, so you're frozen again. Jerome's frozen again. Okay, well, I don't know exactly what's going on with Jerome's internet right now, but we've talked about all the games. All we're really doing – oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. All right, let's get to our game picks real quick. So we're going to go through this. I got the records right here. Ray, we talked about it last week. We're going to be tied up. So our current records right now – oh, I got that backwards. Oh, hold on. Can't look at that because it says Ray is in the lead, which he's not. So let me fix that real quick because Ray is definitely not in the lead. I can't deny my wins right now, man. I won last year. You won the first year we did this. I gotta break the tie. But I'm currently up 21-8. Ray's 19-10. Not bad records. Could be a little bit better, but not bad records. we're still in the filling out stage of the college football too, so you know how that goes. But let's get right into it, Ray. We got our first game that we're going to be talking about, and that will be, let's talk about the Clemson and FSU game. So Clemson is at home. They are favored by 2.5. Who you got there?
I'm going to take Clemson, and I'm not going to feel good about doing it, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't feel good about doing it, but I'm going to take Clemson.
I agree. This is a good game. This is a good pick 'em to start us off with. Clemson been struggling. FSU defense though. If Travis can play a little bit better at the quarterback position than he did last week, I can see FSU winning. But I'm gonna stick with Clemson one more game. One more game. We'll see how this goes. But they've been struggling really bad against some not so good teams. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be a good one. I the early game too. So that's going to be a good start up for this week. Like I said, starting this week till the rest of the season, it should be a lot of good games. Very excited. Next game we're going to be talking about is Texas A&M versus Auburn. As I try to find that game, right here you got.
I got Texas A&M in that game. It's 7.5. I mean, pretty much. I think Texas A&M is a better team. They're more talented, and I honestly don't have any faith in Texas A&M. But I just think they're so much better than Auburn. They have to win. You know. Yeah.
This is going to be one of the ones that I'm just going to go the opposite, just because I like what Auburn's been doing this year. A small sample size, not a lot of great teams they've been playing, but what they've been doing, I'm very impressed with. Texas A&M, we always talk about the talent, to be very talented, but they just can't ever put it together. I'm actually going to give it to Auburn. I just feel like they're just going to keep their hot streak going, and they got a couple of good games that's about to start coming up, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to go the opposite on this one. I'm going to say Auburn. They've been looking a lot better to me lately. And Texas A&M, I just can't.
Don't disagree with Jerome. I just don't understand how Texas A&M is so bad with the talent they have on their team. I don't get it. But
yeah,
it is.
No, I agree. It happens every year. We always talk about this, right? So, all right, let's get to our next game. And this is a little bit of just spectacle game because the line is completely different on this game. We're going to go Colorado versus Oregon. Colorado obviously is going to be playing. They're going to be playing it without Travis Hunter. We just talked about that. Playing Oregon. Oregon's number 10 in the country right now. Both 3-0 right now. Who you got, Ray?
I hate this game, but I'm taking Oregon.
Before I say something, Oregon is at home and they're favored by 31.
I understand.
21, sorry.
I'm taking Oregon.
I am too. Especially with the fact that they don't have Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's their breadwinner, that's their be all and all, but
yeah, but he's pretty much
Colorado. They've been giving up points though on defense. Still not the greatest defense. Offensively, I think it's going to be a good shootout type of game.
I do.
But I believe in Oregon's defense a little bit more than Colorado's defense right now.
I think, like you said, I think it'll probably be a fairly high scoring game. I think Oregon is a better team. I think that Oregon is a fairly their coach. I think he's a decent coach. I just think that I think that they're too good for Colorado, and not having Travis Hunter to me is their best defensive player. It kind of just makes it too much for him to do. I mean, Oregon's offense is good. Their best player is gone. I mean, 21 line. I mean, that's crazy.
That's a huge line. Line.
Like, you're probably gonna have a ton of people playing Colorado this week with the line because it looks like a gimme, which honestly scares me a little bit because it literally looks like a gimme. Like 21 points, Colorado, they're 3-0. Oh, Colorado. There's no way to lose by 3 scores. Up the brakes, man.
That's crazy. That's a crazy line.
I don't get that line at all. I mean, I understand Oregon's more athletic, and again, You can shape it any way you want. Colorado's missing one of their best top three players right now.
Correct.
So, but you're like, okay, what could they do to win this game where they can run the ball? And that includes let the quarterback run the ball and keep away from Oregon's offense. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
If you don't get that done,
but the thing is, Colorado has barely been doing that, though.
That's the problem. They play so wide open that I don't know if they're capable of slowing it down. Yeah. And if they play that wide open and they don't score on every drive, I don't know if they can hold Oregon down from below like 35 to 45 points. I don't think they can.
Yeah. No, I agree. This might be Colorado's first loss, which that's not a bad thing,
I know there's no moral victories in football. Colorado loses this game 27-20, 24-20, 20-20, and by a close score, or they win. Man, you are not going to be able to control Deion if that happens, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to. Because you know what? Here's the thing, and this is what else scares me. Deion sees this line.
Mm-hmm.
His players know what the line is.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me, okay?
Oh, dude, it was the same thing with TCU. That line was pretty bad, too, and
correct.
He used that to motivate his team.
You can bet on his chalkboard or somewhere, wherever he puts messages for his guys, that line is somewhere. I almost guarantee it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
all right, let's go to our next game. A team that we just talked about while struggling, Alabama. They're home. They're going to be playing Ole Miss. They are favored by 6.5, Ray. Do you trust Alabama right now, or you think they still get it done against Ole Miss?
Kind of the same thing as Texas A&M versus Auburn. I don't trust Alabama, but I think they're just better than Ole Miss, so they'll win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my question is Jalen Monroe going to be playing?
I don't know, to be honest with you, Jerome. I honestly I don't think he's the answer either, but I do like the idea of having a co-quarterback thing for that team to find out who could be the guy.
Oh, wait, Monroe was not injured. He was benched.
He's benched.
That's right.
See, that's scary, though, because that means they have no faith in him now.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Jerome,
I
would find a way to the field. He's a good athlete. I would find different ways. I would run some wildcat with him every once in a while just to keep the defense on their heels. And if I can establish some kind of a run game with that, then maybe I can bring out Tyler Buckner or Ty and see if they can make some plays with their arms. Because Tyler Buckner has a strong arm. I just don't know about his accuracy because I didn't get to see a lot of it out at Notre Dame, and I haven't. And it wasn't good in his last game. It was 5 for 14. It wasn't good. So
definitely. No, I'm gonna take Alabama. You took Alabama, right?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. I'll take Bama just because I never want to Jalen Monroe. He has his issues, but he's their best. He's their best option, and I believe he's going to be coming back. Although Jackson Dart, I just think that Alabama team going to be home. Jalen Monroe, Melrose, however you say his name, Milroe. He's gonna be motivated to play, and I never want to take away a guy's motivation after being benched. Now we'll see how it ends out, but I'm gonna give this to Alabama in a close one. I think this might be a good game. This might be a really good game.
I think it'll probably be 27-20.
Yeah.
30-20-21 or something, 30-23, somewhere right in that ballpark where Alabama just in the end kind of holds on.
Correct.
Because Ole Miss is not a horrible team, but they're not an upper team either. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sure if Alabama is right now either, but they're still more athletic than Ole Miss, and I think in the end they'll just outdo them, like you said, fairly close. The more. Here's the thing: if I was Alabama, my offense is not going to be great this year. My defense is still pretty good though. Improve your special teams because they have struggled for the last 2 or 3 years too. So improve your special teams. Use more of your athletes on your special teams and make plays, get field position like that. Because your offense is going to struggle most of the year. It just is. So make
100%.
plays in your special teams, your kick game, and take advantage of your athletes if you're Alabama. That's how you can make your way maybe into a playoff. Right now, Alabama's not a playoff team. They're not. They're not one of the top 10 teams in the country, so they're not a playoff team. But they're still athletic, and they have enough players on offense where they can make differences. Can they be stars? No, they're not stars. They're just good athletes. So again, improve your special teams, play your defense, and try to squeeze enough out of the quarterback position where you're not putting your defense in bad situations all the time.
100%. 100%. Yep. Let's get to our next game. The Utes versus UCLA. Utah is at home. They're favored by 4.5. Who taking, Ray?
Can you pick? No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking Utah.
I'm taking them too.
Okay.
I like them even without Rising. They've been doing really well without him. And if I'm not mistaken, he might be coming back this week.
I think it's either this week or next week. I think there is a chance.
No, he's gonna be out again. He's gonna be out again.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I think at one time they were talking about maybe he would be back for this game, but I guess not. Honestly,
yeah.
Joe, it's a shame he's not playing because this would be a really good game.
Absolutely.
And I really think that it's going to be a good game anyway. I do. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a little bit more defensive than people think, though. I think that that don't get me wrong, defensive 27-23, 30-23, 33-27, somewhere right in that area. I just don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think that Dante Moore's playing in UCLA, and I'm hoping it's on TV. I'm excited to watch it. I haven't get to see him play yet.
Me neither. Since I've seen him, and I think it was last summer I watched him, or this summer, whatever it was, before he went to UCLA. I got to see him in person. Really good player. Haven't got to see him play at UCLA yet. Obviously, they're undefeated right now and ranked number 22. I just think that they haven't played a defense like Utah yet, and they have the perfect defense to go against a young quarterback. And UCLA, like I said, a lot of defenses like a Utah. I just think that's going to be a little overbearing for them.
I'm just excited to see how he plays against a good defense as opposed to some of the defenses that are in this conference. Because he's probably going to be really good against some of these other teams. Correct. But I think Utah will be the one defense where he's going to get different looks. And they're going to try to throw different coverages on him because that's what Utah does.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to use his legs a little bit more in this game.
That's fun, man. There you go. I was just going to say, don't be surprised if this is the game where he kind of takes off and tries to make some plays with his feet.
There you go.
That is the one thing. If they try to play man on the receivers and back up, and where they tell more. If they turn your back to you and you see 5 yards, go get it. Get down, but go get it. You know what I mean?
Yep. I like it. All right, so we got the same teams right there. Next game we got Iowa State versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is away. Iowa is at home, and they're favored by 3.5, which is pretty much a pick 'em. Who are you taking right here, Ray?
I hate this game. I'm going to take Iowa State, though.
Ooh.
I am. I hate the game, though. I do.
Yeah, it's a really close game. I'm taking Oklahoma State. I just like them a little bit better right now. Iowa State just need to show me a little bit more.
Yeah.
They haven't. They're not a bad team. I don't think they're a bad team at all. I just think they need to show me a little bit better.
Yeah. I don't think either one of them are bad. I'd rather one of them or both of them. Well, for one, I don't ever bet on bad teams.
Yeah.
So at least one or the other were bad. But I think they're similar teams. And I think that talent-wise are close. I'm just going with Iowa State because they're home. I mean, I guess it's really the only reason to go with them at this point. Because like you said, the line is really close. So that really is insignificant. So if I didn't take Iowa State and they lose and they won, I would be like, damn, I should have taken them because they're home. You know what I mean? But we'll see.
Yeah, I got you. There's a lot of good games, by the way. A lot of these lines
There
are
are.
very,
It's
very
funny. It's funny how like we keep talking about how there's a lot of good games this week. There really are.
correct. Yeah,
Clemson,
they are. And I wish we was able to talk about a couple of them.
yeah, Colorado, Auburn. I mean, Oregon, even Alabama, just see if they can move. Oregon. I mean, Utah, UCLA. I mean, Appalachian State. I mean, Wyoming is a. If you like high scoring games, it's probably gonna be a really nice high scoring game. I mean, there's really a lot of good games this week, which makes me happy.
And speaking of the Appalachian State game, we're going to talk about that one. Who you got in that one? Wyoming is at home. They're favored by 3 at home. Both teams are 2-1. Who taking?
I'm taking Appalachian State in that game, man. I just
I
don't
do too.
like. I don't like the line. I think it tells me that Appalachian State could really upset this team, which is played really well last week. But hey, the line tells me Appalachian. And
it was definitely a surprising line to me. I feel like Appalachian State don't get the credit they deserve sometimes, just because the conference and everything like that. But they're a good team, and they've been beating out that conference for a while now. So
you know what I don't understand about it, Jerome? They've been good for a long time now.
Yeah,
it's not like it's been 5 years. They've been good for a really long time.
That's what I mean.
Like almost 20 years, they've been really good at Appalachian State.
Yeah.
But every year they're
challenging some good teams too. They've been challenging some good teams every year.
And I'm not saying like they win the majority of these big, but they don't. But they compete in every one of them.
Correct. 100%.
I don't understand why they're not considered like a better program because they're really good.
I agree. All right, let's get to probably the game you're going to be glued on all Saturday night. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame is at home. Ohio State is favored though. Both undefeated teams, 6 versus 9. Who you taking, Ray?
And you know what, Jerome? I hate to say this. I hate saying it. It's a complete homer pick, and I'm taking Notre Dame.
God. I mean, I can't go against that. And it's not only just my bias against Ohio State. I just think that the youth at the quarterback position. Y'all do got tons of. I mean, they have tons of wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like now this year, I feel like Notre Dame finally got their identity.
Notre Dame's wrong?
Huh?
You're taking Notre Dame?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that your defense, if y'all can hold off on some of those receivers, put some pressure against what's his name? What's the quarterback name again? Hey.
Oh, I hate that, man.
I forgot the quarterback's name, but put some pressure on the quarterback. Okay, I have to look. Put some pressure on the quarterback. You guys got a good pass rush over there. McCourt, there you go. McCourt. He's not playing bad. He's not playing bad at all. Sam Hartman been putting your team on his back already. He got 1,000 yards already. 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns for you guys. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing with him. Running game's really good. Estime, that's how you say his name?
Oh, yeah, Autry Estime.
Yeah, playing really well at the running back position.
It is a freaking freak.
I really like what he's doing. If y'all could just stop Kyle from really getting the ball out there, which I think y'all can on defense.
Here's the key to the game. And Notre Dame played pretty well against Central Michigan. They started out really slow, almost like too slow for me. It kind of annoyed me. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Yeah.
But they need to generate pass rush somehow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been great the first 2 weeks, but they're going to need to do that against Ohio State.
Yeah,
quarterback because he's a young kid. On offense, Notre Dame's pretty good, man. They really are. They had a lot, too many penalties last week too. 4 of them, holding call, and I hate holding calls.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking hate them. To me, a holding call, especially get me wrong, if it's a pass blocking and you hold somebody, I get it, man. You could call holding, every other play in football if you wanted to, if you really wanted to be nitpicky about it. On a running play, if you're holding, you're just freaking lazy. Okay, and that's all there is to it. Don't hold on run plays. That's all I ask. And they had 2 plays last week where they held on run plays, and that really annoyed me. But in general, Audric Estimé, they have good running backs, man. They're really good in Notre Dame. They really are, man. And their receivers are just good enough where Sam Hartman can make some plays with them. I mean, if they don't beat them this year, man, when is it going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, next year,
I think this is it.
Yeah.
I think this is a statement game for you guys for sure.
I think this
off.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if you guys can pull this off and beat in Ohio State, this is the game that during the preseason I said that I think that Notre Dame can beat them this year. I really do. So I think this is my favorite game of the weekend. Obviously, there's a lot of good ones. This is my favorite game of the weekend.
This is the reason why you got Sam Hartman. This game is the reason why you brought Sam Hartman in. You knew your run game was going to be pretty good. Offensive line's pretty good. Defense is solid. There's holes in the front 7. There are. We're not great. Edge players are solid. Interior line is not great. It's solid.
Definitely.
Secondary is pretty good. Cam Hart's good. Their secondary is good. The freshman from last year, number 20, they're really good at corner.
Yeah.
But they need to
gotta stop Marferson.
Yeah.
Gotta stop.
They need to generate pass rush and run the ball. And I think they can beat Ohio State. I really do, man. I really do. Like,
y'all are set up to beat this team.
We said home last year. We lost Ohio State 19-10, but we competed most of that game. It was only late when our quarterback got hurt and it kind of fell apart. In the middle of the third quarter. I mean, I think we're a better team than Notre Dame. I really do. I think we're a good team. I think we have, again, in the defensive front, we're good. We don't have a lot of great depth, but we're good there. So if we can stay away from injuries, we'll be okay. But that was even against Central Michigan. We played good on defense, but we didn't play great because we didn't get enough pass rush.
Hey, Ray. Yeah. Can I tell you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Play Gabe Rubio.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed. At least play him more. Agreed. Without a doubt, man. They need to. Yeah, that's part of it too. And I get like Jerome. I'm in the stands last week, and not to get it like there was this one guy, and he was an older guy, a little older than me. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan, man. You love Notre Dame, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's like criticizing everything the coaches are doing, everything. I'm like, please, man, what the fuck? Like, wow. And
at least they won. At least they won when you was there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I did walk out knowing what it feels like to actually win a game. It did take Central Michigan, but I got the win.
Yes, it was a win. It was a win.
Yeah, again, like I was glad about that, and again, there's this, and then he's talking to a guy in front of him, and it's like and I didn't say anything. I was a good boy, Jerome. I really was. I didn't say nothing until the guy says, "Oh, Brian Kelly would have never tolerated that. He got
he said the word.
He said the word, and he didn't want to be here no more. Okay, so goodbye."
He said the word.
Oh man, come on, dude. Like, man, if Notre Dame would have fired him, I'd understand you have animosity. You thought he's better than the guy that replaced him. I get that. He didn't want to be there no more.
Nah.
So goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're Brian Kelly. You're a good coach. You're not Notre Dame. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. It's like Jim Harbaugh's a good coach. And honestly, Jerome, I would love to see both of us win a championship because I think we deserve one. I really do. But in the end, Michigan's going to be around a lot longer than Jim Harbaugh will be around.
I agree.
Like, they're not Michigan because of Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh because of Michigan.
Correct.
That's the difference. Okay, man?
100%.
All right.
Let's get to our last 2 games real quick. Let's make these quick. Just real quick. UNC versus Pitt. Pitt is at home. UNC is favored by 7.5. Who you taking?
I'm taking Mac Brown, baby. You know that.
I'm taking them as well. Again, I'm not too high on Pitt this year.
I'm not either. North Carolina will
So,
score. I don't know what kind of points Pittsburgh going to score. Not enough to keep up with them, I don't believe.
yeah, I agree. All right, last game is UCF versus Kansas State. Kansas State is at home. They're favored by 4.5. Who are you thinking?
I'm taking Kansas State. Again, I think they'll just outscore UCF a little bit. You know.
Yeah. This is a good game, and I like the line actually.
I do. I like the line. I think the over/under is. I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring, like usual.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. Again, I think
I'm leaning towards UCF.
All of the games that we've talked about tonight are all going to be good games.
Dude, and we didn't even touch on all of them. There's a couple of other ones. There's one
sure, but I mean, from Clemson all the way to Kansas State and UCF, man, they're all going to be good games. Every one of them.
Yeah, this is a week. I mean, Georgia Tech versus it's a good one.
Remember how we talked about 0 being like that little hors d'oeuvre before you? These are actually the meats and potatoes of the schedule right now.
Now we're getting into the good spots. Now we're getting into the good stuff. So if you're a college football fan, this is the perfect time to get back into it. Look at it. If you haven't been watching that close, this is the time to do so. So that's going for us today, guys. We ran a little longer than normal. Again, we had a lot to talk about, so of course we had to get a little longer. But that's going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you all for getting on. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow us on all those social media platforms. We interviewed a lot of players that we talk about, seeing a lot of them in person. I'm actually trying to see your boy Dylan Raiola, so hopefully I'll get to see him in the next couple of weeks. I see him in person now that he's in Georgia. So we'll see how that goes. But let us know how you feel. If there's anything you want to talk to us about, you definitely put it in the comment section below. We answer everything in there, so make sure you do that for us, guys. Like and subscribe so you know when we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's gonna do it for us, man. So I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next week on a good week. Enjoy your college football, guys. Peace.